Hey friends, as all of you may aware, for years Microsoft .NET Technologies helped many enterprise developers build world-class websites and web applications. I remember during the year 2002, Microsoft launched .NET Framework. Till then, Microsoft developers were using classic ASP to build applications. The .NET Framework helped developers build their applications quickly and easily. To host a .NET application, a Windows server with Internet Information Services installed was required. In a famous announcement during the year 2015, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced Microsoft loves Linux. It was not just an announcement. Microsoft started helping Linux Foundation, and now Microsoft is the platinum partner for Linux Foundation. For the developers, the most significant change was the launch of .NET Core, a true cross-platform framework to build modern applications. With the launch of .NET Core, the .NET applications can be hosted either in Windows or Linux distributions. Today, I am going to demonstrate the process involved in building and deploying a .NET Core application into a Linux environment. For the purpose of this demo, I will be using Visual Studio 2022 to develop the application that will be developed in my local computer, which is Windows 11, and later deploy this application to a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure. So let us start. So I am in my Visual Studio. As you may notice, it is the latest version available as of today. So let me first create a .NET Core application. Let me go to File, New Project. I will choose the template ASP.NET Core Web App. Click Next. I'll be choosing the location where I want to store it. Let me write the name of the application. Okay, let us see my Linux website. Click Next. Visual Studio will be creating the project, and as you see, my basic project is ready. There is the default template gives me some default files in the index.html, CSS.html. Let me go and say welcome to my Linux website. Now I am done with my complex, beautiful application. So let me run it, whether it works. Okay, so click on the run menu, and now the application will work on my cursor web server. Yes, my application displays welcome to my Linux website. Actually, this is not in Linux, it's in Windows. I am intending to publish this in Linux. Very good. Application works well. Let me close this. To publish this app, first thing, let me go right click the project, click on the publish button. It will ask me, I have several options. I can deploy directly to Azure, I can deploy to Docker. Now let me deploy it to a folder. Click on the folder, click next, click finish. Click on publish. Now the application will be compiled and published to the folder. Now you may notice my contents, the contents in the published folder. So these are the contents available, the www root folder and the my Linux website.dll, which is my project name.dll, and some app settings and other configuration files. That's fine, good, we are done. Let me summarize what we have done till now. We created a new .NET Core 7 application, tested it locally, published it to a folder. Now we need to create the Microsoft Azure resources and move our files to the Azure Virtual Machine and publish it. So let us see how to do that. Let me go log into the Azure portal. It is always better to create a resource group to group the resources for your workload. Since this is for testing, I have a Visual Studio subscription for my testing purpose. I am creating a resource group Nginx website RG. So this will be used for this demonstration only. I can choose any region, but I'm happy with East US. Now let me click review and create. All the validations are passed. So let us create the resource group. So now I can see my resource group is available. Just click on the resource group. As you see, no resources are created yet. Now we want to create a resource which is a virtual machine. Let me go and click create resources. Let us select Ubuntu Virtual Machine. So when I select Ubuntu itself, it will ask me. There are various versions of Ubuntu Virtual Machines available. There is Ubuntu 22.04 with graphical user interface. I'm happy with the minimal Ubuntu. So the Ubuntu minimal, which is the 22.04 LTS. So let me create the Ubuntu Virtual Machine. Click on create button. Now it will ask me for the options to select. For example, what is the virtual machine name? So let me enter the virtual machine name as Nginx website VM. The region I already chose for the resource group as East US. How to authenticate to the Linux machine? I want to authenticate it through SSH. Now for the username, you can go with any username you prefer. So let me select my user as Linux website user, and I want to generate a new key pair. And what is the key pair name? Basically, they suggest me the virtual machine name _ key. I'm happy with that. Now for the inbound ports, since it's not a production environment, I'm happy to open the SSH port from internet. In real-time scenarios, you may restrict the internet access and connect to your website from the VPNs. That's fine. So let me go to the next phase. Now let us select the disk options. Since it's a test environment, I will be selecting delete with VM option. In a production scenario, mostly you need to uncheck this. This is a dangerous option. When you get the virtual machine deleted, the disk also will be deleted along with it. I'm happy with all the other default settings. Let us go to the networking. In the networking, now a new virtual network will be created with the subnet 10.0.0.0/24. A new public IP will be created for the virtual machine. That's fine. I'm happy with the default ones. Now the management options, monitoring. So it will tell me what is the price for the virtual machine. Everything is good. So let me just click on create. So now it will ask me to download the private key. Azure will not store the private key. So it is very important for you to download and keep it with you. So I just click on download the private key and then create the resource. So my private key is downloaded to my local downloads folder, and now Azure will create the virtual machine. Now you will see the deployment is completed. Let me go to the resource, which is my virtual machine. It will tell the status as running, what is the location, what is the resource group it is created, what is the public IP of the resource group, which is very important. So I need to copy that and the other details here. The next step, let us connect to the virtual machine using SSH. To connect to the virtual machine, you can, since I am connecting it from a Windows machine, I can use PowerShell or command prompt to connect to the SSH. So let me click on Windows PowerShell. It's fine. Windows PowerShell is launched. Let me run the command to connect to the virtual machine. The command to connect to the virtual machine is SSH command with identity with the private key, which is stored in my downloads folder. So that's where it was downloaded. You may copy it to another local folder and use that path. That's fine. Then what is my username @ the IP? Good. So I just click on enter. Say yes. So now you will see the SSH is connected to the virtual machine. So let me see run command just to list the directory of my home folder. So there is no files. So let me make a directory there. ls is listing the test. That's fine. So let me clear the command prompt and let me exit. So the next step is to copy the files from Windows to my Azure Linux virtual machine. So what I have done, just copied my build that we built in our earlier step. So I stored it in this location. So I just copied from my development machine to here. Now we need to move this file to the virtual machine. To copy files from Windows to Linux, you can use the scp command. So the scp command with -r, that means recursive, so that it will take the whole folder. You mention the private key that you created and the path to the folder where your builds available, and your username, IP address, and to which folder you need to copy the files. So let me run the command. So you will see the files one by one are copied to the Ubuntu Virtual Machine that we already created. All my files are uploaded. So now let me connect to the Linux through SSH and see whether the files are available there. So I just do the SSH command and connect it to the SSH. Let me run a clear command. Then let me do an ls. So you will see initially I created a test folder, then the Linux website folder which is copied the files through scp command. Let me see the contents in the Linux folder. ls Linux website, that is a folder. So all my files are there. Cool. So now we uploaded the files from my Windows machine to the Linux virtual machine. The next step is to install the ASP.NET Runtime. To install the ASP.NET Runtime, first you make sure that you connected to the SSH to the. So let me clear the prompt. Then let me run sudo apt get update. So I make sure that all the necessary packages are updated with the latest version. Now once it is done, I can install .NET Framework by mentioning which runtime I want to install, which is ASP.NET Core 7.0. So you'll see the distribution will bring the packages from the Azure and install it. Very good. We are done with the installation. To just make sure that it is available, just run the .NET command. .NET command. Yes, the command is available to us. We are very good. We are done with the .NET Core installation. Now let us configure our website using .NET Core and see whether we are able to do that. Our website was compiled into my Linux website.dll. That was my project name, and it was copied to the Ubuntu machine through SSH. In Ubuntu or in Linux distributions, the var folder is to store the websites and associated files. So first let us move this Linux website folder from the home directory to the var folder. The command is sudo cp -a means everything, and from home Linux website to the var folder. The files are copied. So let us see whether the files are copied or not. ls /var/ Linux website, because that was the folder name that I used while doing the SCP. That's fine. So I can see the file contents are there, copied properly. Perfect. So the files are copied to the var folder. So let us run the .NET command and make the DLL available in a URL, right? So to do that, we can use .NET command with the path to the DLL file and specifying the URLs that it supports. Now you see our website is running in localhost port 5001. It is waiting for the requests. Now let us try to open another PowerShell. SSH into the Linux VM. Now try to use the curl command. So basically curl localhost :5001. Immediately you will see in the left side where the .NET command was executing, it received a hit and responded with the response. And here in the second PowerShell, you will see what is the output delivered by the localhost 5001. You may use wget command to see the more information about headers. Let's see. Wget localhost 5001. So it gives me more header information. Localhost is resolved. It is connected to the 5001 port, and it basically saves the files to index.html what is received from there. So basically it works. So I can get more information. So you can use this curl command and wget command if you want to troubleshoot your .NET projects inside Linux. Keep a note of it. So now let us quit the Linux website that is running in port 5001 by clicking the Ctrl+C. So now my application is shut down. It is recommended to create this .NET application as a service. So let us see how we can create a service file. First, you need to create a file in the folder /etc/systemd/system with the name of whatever you like. So let me go and create a file. To create a file, we can use sudo vi command and mention the path systemd/system/. Now I can define my service name. It can be anything at the end of the day, but since it is my website name is Linux website, so let me make it Linux website.service. Let me see the Microsoft documentation that tells how to create the service definition file. So the documentation speaks about Nano. I'll be using VA. That's okay. Any editor should be fine. So let me copy this. So it shows me it's a new file here. So let me paste the content. Let me paste the content from the website that I already copied. So I copied the files, and now see, you can see the default file that Microsoft gave in the documentation. So I will just adjust it. Description, my Nginx website, ASP.NET, or 7.0. That's fine. I already created a folder called Linux website. What is the starting point of my execution? It is /var/Linux website / my file name / my Linux website to restart is always whenever there is a problem, it defines okay, restart second. And what is the ASP.NET environment? That's fine. So let me save this file. We save the file. Let me see what is the content of the file. /cat/ etc/ systemd/ system / Linux website dot service. Once you define a service, you need to enable it. So to enable it, let us run the command. My command is sudo systemctl enable Linux website dot service. The service is enabled. Now I need to start the service. To start the service, sudo systemctl start Linux website dot service. The service is started. So let me check the status of the service. So it displays the status of the service. You may notice my service is listening to localhost 5000. Why localhost 5000? Because I haven't specified any particular port. So let me try to specify a particular port. Before that, let me see whether it works. Alright. So we can do curl localhost 5000. It should give me my website output. So let us go and edit the service file. Sudo VA using Linux website service. So I ended the environment ASP.NET core underscore URLs is equal to localhost 8001. That is fine. Why I chose 8001? Because we during the demonstration when we were running the .NET command, we used 5001. So let us try another port. That's fine. Though 5001 will work. So let me click escape :WQ exclamation. I saved the files. Just let me check it /cat /etc/ systemd/ system /Linux website dot service. Yes, my URLs are configured correct. So to now I need to reload this file. Since it's a service file, we need to use reload daemon command. So sudo systemctl daemon reload sudo systemctl restart Linux website dot service. Now let me check the status. Systemctl status Linux website dot service. So now you will see .NET site is listening to the port 8001. Very good. Now let me try to get the curl command on localhost 8001. Let me see. Yes, my site is working. In my server, automatically whenever the server starts, the service will be up and running, and that will be configured in 8001 port. So the localhost 8001 is pointing to my .NET website. Cool. Now the next step is to publish this website to the outside world. Okay, so to do that we need to use Nginx. Nginx is a reverse proxy and web server for web server. So let us see how to install Nginx. To install Nginx, let us run the command sudo apt install Nginx. So it asks me whether you want to continue. That's fine. So it is installing Nginx as a web server. I want to see whether Nginx is installed correctly. So I can use the command where is Nginx. It tells me Nginx is already installed and some key folders are mentioned. Very good. The next step is to start Nginx. Since it's a web server, let me start the service. Sudo systemctl start Nginx. Now the Nginx web server is started, so it must be listening to the localhost by default. So let me go and curl localhost. Yes, the default Nginx page is coming. Since a web server is installed, Nginx is installed in the Ubuntu. Now we should be able to browse the localhost from outside. Alright? If you remember, when we were configuring the networking, we only allowed port 22, which is the SSH port from the internet. So let us now go there and enable the port 80 to be browsable from internet. Click on networking. I'll see the roles opened. It gives me with a warning saying that SSH is allowed from any to any. So I will add a new inbound port rule from any source to any destination. Service maybe HTTP. Now our rule is enabled, so our website should be browsable from the internet. So let me go to another tab and browse to HTTP my IP address, which is 20.232.114.9. Yes, content. The default Nginx page is available to the internet users. Let us see the Nginx configuration file. So to view the Nginx configuration file, you can do a cat command to /etc/nginx/nginx config. So if you see, this is the default Nginx configuration file that specifies the details of the configuration already applied. As you can see, the configuration file of the default Nginx configuration includes all conf files from conf.d folder and sites enabled folder. So let us see what is there in those folders. So I will just say /etc/nginx /conf .d. It's empty. There is nothing available there. Now let us see what is there in the sites enabled folder. ls/etc/nginx/sites enabled. There is a default file available. So let us see what is the content of that default file. To reach the content, we'll use the cat command. Cat /etc/nginx/sites enabled /default. So the default file, if you see, it's a default server configuration file. It tells listen 80 to the default server. So that's how when we browse the IP address, it was pointing to the default raw file. See, that is available from /var www.html. So this is how that file was serving as the default Nginx file when we browse the site. So this file is coming from the this /var /www/html, and the default document is index.html, index.html. Since I have only one website to host, I can edit the default website configuration that is already available there. I recommend you to take a copy. So let me take a copy of the file. Just cp/etc/nginx/sites enabled /default to, for example, in my root file /nginx default backup. So for any reason, if I mess it up, I can restore it. ls command to list the folders, and I can see the Nginx default backup file is created. So now let me explain how this works. So we have the Nginx as a reverse proxy. So basically, Nginx will receive the request and then forward it to the .NET application. Now what is next? We need to configure Nginx reverse proxy to get the request on port number 80 and pointing to port number 8001. Then my website will be running from the internet, right? Okay, let us try to do that. So let me edit Nginx configuration file. So the default Nginx file, you can see that right now. So it is listening to the port 80 and hash is for the command, and it is pointing to the root site, root folder, to the /var /www/html, and serve the files as I mentioned. Alright, so now we need to just change this and point the port ID to port 8001. So basically, let me comment out this. Let me comment this. I don't want all of these things. Server name underscore, that's fine. Now for the location, yes, this is where I need to change it. Location / let me delete whatever is here, and I need to do a proxy to http //8001. This should be enough. Basically, pass the request to localhost 8001. So this is the reverse proxy functionality. Does, that's fine. The remaining settings, let me keep it as default. Let me save it. Escape :WQ exclamation. So I am saving the file. Now we have updated the configuration file. Let us verify the configuration file is okay. To verify the configuration file, whether it is valid, is there any error, you can run the Nginx test by using sudo nginx -t. So now if any file have any problem, it will report here. Since our file is perfect, that's fine, we are done. So next thing, we need to restart the Nginx service so that our service is applied. Sudo systemctl restart Nginx. So inside the servers, inside the system, for example, if I go to curl localhost 8001, I'm getting the response. This is because we have the .NET Linux website .service is activated. Now if I go curl localhost, now Nginx should be listening to this and I should get the same response. Yes, so that means if I go to my browser, open a tab. Now let us see what we are seeing. Yes, my default website with whatever be configured welcome to my Linux website is serving from the Linux machine through the Nginx reverse proxy. Perfect. In reality, you may not just do the proxy pass. You may use other parameters. So let me review our default configuration file that we just edited. So sudo vi/etc/nginx /sites enabled /default. This is the file I just edited. So now I updated my proxy version with some standard configuration. So this is important to note. It's not just we proxy pass to localhost, we may need to pass some headers. That's fine. I just wanted to point out to you saying that this is very important. I will share the links to this configuration file. And cool. So we make the changes. So let us save it. Escape. WQ saved. So first thing we need to see whether the file is good to go. Sudo nginx test. Yes, files are good. Sudo systemctl restart Nginx. Now let me go to my site. Let me see whether everything okay, look good. Fine, my site is working. It is that easy to host a .NET website in Linux, any Linux distribution. I chose Ubuntu for today's demonstration, but for any Linux distribution, the steps will be similar. Thank you for watching.